was like, why did I write this? What was I thinking? It'll be fine. It just probably won't. Okay, this is it. The NaNoWriMo vlog. I'm sure if you're watching this video, then you know what NaNoWriMo is, but just to be safe, I'm just gonna explain it because it's kind of the whole premise of the video. NaNoWriMo stands for National Novel Writing Month, and it's basically a challenge to write a book in the month of November. Most people use this as an opportunity to start a brand new novel idea. Some people continue current works in progress. I already have a work in progress, and it actually is already 50,000 words, so I have a very specific goal for NaNoWriMo, and I would like to share that with you. My main goal that I'm going to prioritize is basically just to finish editing it. If all goes well, then I really would like to have a second draft of this novel that I'm really happy with. My editing process has taken so long because lately, especially in the past few months, I've been very meticulous about the little details and stuff, so it's just been taking a long time, and I think I just want to like go hard in November and just like finish doing that. And it won't be perfect, but I just hope that by the end I'll have a second draft that I'm really happy with. My secondary goal, which I'm not going to harp on too much because editing it and finishing it is going to be the real priority, but God, I really want to get like another 10,000 words on this. If I can add 10,000 words to the project, then that would just make my life. That would be awesome. It would be lovely. I'm filming this on October 30th, and I'm starting NaNoWriMo a couple days early this year just because the first few days of the month I'm going to be working like 12-hour days, which is very exciting, but I just will not have time. I know I will not have time to write anything, so I'm not going to pressure myself for that. I'm just going to take this little Halloween weekend to start NaNoWriMo. There aren't any real rules. Everything's pretty flexible, so I'm not going to put a lot of pressure on myself. I am starting NaNoWriMo with 6 out of 30 chapters edited, and before I started writing today, my word count was at 51,453 words. So yeah, I just finished writing for the day. I finally finished editing chapter 7, but yeah, it was a good writing session. I found myself trying to add more details to the story, and I'm trying to be mindful about it. I'm not trying to like up my word count for the sake of upping my word count. I'm just trying to find spaces in the story where more details will be more valuable. And that's been really fun, kind of just looking at very specific moments in the story and just like putting a microscope up to it and trying to find what would be valuable to add. But yeah, I'm sure by the end of this month, it's not going to be perfect, but I'm not trying to aim for, God, I feel like a Pinterest board. Don't aim for perfection, aim for progress. But I'm trying to aim for progress. I guess one more thing before I leave, I am probably not going to vlog every single day. That would be exhausting. I don't even think I'm going to write every single day, but I'm hoping to update you guys at least every week just to keep myself in check and just to share how the process is going. I know I'm approaching NaNoWriMo from a different vantage point, so I hope that's still interesting to watch. I am not starting a book from scratch like most people, but I still hope that this video is valuable and interesting to some people. So yeah, awesome. I'll see you next week. Have I written anything today? No. Did I buy a cool hat from Target? Yes. How is NaNoWriMo going? I'm tired. It is definitely difficult to balance work and socializing and appointments and all of that adult stuff with NaNoWriMo, and really trying to like focus really hard on one project and making a ton of progress in one project. I ended up skipping day 3 just because work had been really stressful, so I just wanted to give myself a break. It's like on one hand, I want to be as productive as possible this month, but I also know that if I don't give myself breaks ever, then I'm not going to get anything done. So I'm trying to be more forgiving with myself there. Yesterday was interesting because I found myself making a lot of last minute world building changes. That was really interesting just because it made me realize that world building is still something that I need to pay attention to as well, even though I'm not writing like a high fantasy or a high sci-fi or anything like that. I'm not literally building a world, but my story takes place in like a small town. Specifically, I've been trying to answer the question of like, should my story take place in a real small town or should it take place in an imaginary small town? Because it's a contemporary story, it's a very realistic, grounded story. So I've been trying to wrestle with like, would it be disingenuous to like insert that into like a made up town. Ultimately, I've decided I'm just gonna come up with some imaginary towns that are inspired by places I have visited before. Oddly enough, I think that's gonna relieve a lot of pressure, because if I use a real place, then I have to be an expert about that place and about that location. But if I just come up with it, and I just pull some inspiration from places I have visited before, I just think that'll be a lot less pressure. So that was what a lot of yesterday was. It was really just like making decisions. I've been rearranging a lot of flashbacks to places where I think they would make more sense, and I think that's been valuable. I feel like this whole month is literally just gonna be me being like, I'm not gonna focus that much on word count, and then me being like, but I'm too focused on word count. I'm trying, guys. I'm really trying to drill into my head that the length doesn't matter as much, but it's like, oh, but I want it to be longer. But no, it's okay. The important thing is I'm going through my chapters, I'm editing my chapters as thoroughly as I can. At least this week I've been able to do a chapter a day, like get through an entire chapter a day. All right, I have to be honest with you, I really don't want to write today. I have been trying to go through chronologically because, again, like, since I'm editing, I want to make sure everything chronologically makes sense, and I don't want to confuse myself by jumping through chapters. But today I might break that rule because, God, when I opened my computer and saw the chapter I have up today, I was like, I don't want to touch this. I don't want to do anything with this. Basically, the chapter I opened up today was like, so it started with a flashback, which, you know, a lot of my chapters have been starting with flashbacks. This wasn't just any flashback, though. Oh no, it was a flashback within a flashback, and I was like, why did I write this? What was I thinking? This is so stupid. Why would I do that to myself? That's so convoluted and confusing. So I hate that. I don't even know if it's a good chapter or not. I'm just so stressed. It'll be fine. It just probably won't. So basically, I think I'm just gonna take away that, I don't know what this motion is, just gonna take away that outer flashback and just focus on the inner flashback and just make something out of that. But I also don't know how to naturally transition into it without the outer flashback, and it's like, what am I doing? This is awful. And again, part of my brain is like, you said you would add 10,000 words, and now you want to cut half of a scene, and it's like, but I need to convince myself that that doesn't matter. A lot of editing is cutting, and that's super annoying when you're also trying to add words. So something that's been helpful is I joined a couple of Facebook groups for NaNoWriMo writing, and that's been a lot of fun. Everyone is so nice on there. I'll literally make a post and it'll get like 30 comments, and like, because everyone is just so engaged, and like everyone's kind of going through right now when we're all trying to help each other out. So it's nice to kind of feel some semblance of a community with all of this. It feels less like I'm doing this alone. But one of the discussions that came up in that group was like, someone made a post like, oh, what's gonna be your reward at the end of the month? What are you gonna do to reward yourself after you hit your goal or whatever? That was just something that really stuck with me, because I'm really bad about, you know, about rewarding myself. Like, I have a tendency to just like do the work. I just put my nose down and do the work, and then when I'm done, I'm just like, okay, what's the next thing I need to worry about? And I never take a minute to just be like, no, I'm proud of myself for what I did, and I'm going to do something nice for myself as a result. So with that in mind, I think the way I'm going to reward myself if I do accomplish my goals this month is, for the main one, if I do edit the book all the way through like I intend to this month, then I'm gonna get a haircut. And for the second goal, if I do also end up adding 10,000 words to the manuscript, then I'm also gonna dye it. I'm not sure if I'm just gonna keep it dark red. I do like that color on me. Or maybe I'll do something crazy like 5 or 6 years ago, I used to have an ombre, like a blonde ombre that like half of my hair was just blonde. And that was really fun. So I thought it would be cute on a bob too, because I haven't had an ombre with a bob before, and I think it would just look really different. So that's an idea. There's a beetle! There's a beetle! There's a bug in my house. It's behind the couch. I'm not okay. Oh God, my boyfriend's out of town. What am I gonna do? And on that note, I'll see you guys next week. I am filming this on November 13th, so I'm sure you can imagine how I've been spending my weekend. Taylor's version of Red is amazing, obviously. I somehow didn't cry listening to the 10-minute version of All Too Well, but when the short film dropped, oh my God, just ugly tears, dry heaving. I have to say about the short film, and you can skip this part if you don't want any spoilers, but the ending where she has the book signing and the book reading and everything, that just, I mean, I watched it and then I immediately went over to my computer like, I'm gonna finish this book. This is a sign I have to finish the book. Okay, it's been roughly 2 weeks of NaNoWriMo. It's not even 2 weeks yet, it's only the 13th. Right, so how is NaNoWriMo going for me so far? Things are getting interesting. That's all I can say, but I'm gonna say more because that's what you came here for. I'm about 17 chapters deep into like the editing process, and I'm getting to a point where I'm starting to do some really intense rewriting. And like I knew this would happen. It wasn't really a surprise for me, but I guess I just didn't prepare very well for it. Like I'm not making like really drastic or unreasonable changes to the story overall. I'm trying to turn this side character into a direct foil for one of the primary characters. And like I already can tell it's going to be really valuable and like add a lot more dimension to the story in a way I need it to. But yeah, I just didn't really factor it in how much, because like again, I went into this being like editing and editing, editing, but I'm writing a lot. I'm rewriting a lot. I added a new chapter yesterday, a brand new chapter. Writing yesterday was interesting because yesterday I just started to notice that I wanted my characters interacting more. I guess at first I didn't mind that there were a lot of scenes where a lot of the characters were kind of by themselves. It got to a point where it felt like they weren't interacting with each other at all, and I can't have that. And honestly, that will add more conflict if I'm observing this dysfunctional family situation, and they are interacting, and I am forcing them to interact, even when it is uncomfortable. I think that that'll be better. So I was rewriting a lot of that yesterday, and it's been fun. I think having these characters confront each other really intensely is going to add a lot more spice, a lot more flavor. I just finished writing half of a chapter today, and after I finish filming this, I'm probably gonna go back and do some more. But yeah, I've just felt so scatterbrained. I don't know why. I think I definitely wish I got more done today, but I did really need to clean my apartment. I think I've mostly just been feeling this way because it is starting to feel really daunting just how many brand new scenes I have to write, and like how intensely I'm probably gonna have to bring this character into the story who wasn't originally. So again, just a lot of complicated feelings. I'm excited to do it, but it's also just really daunting. So far, I have been doing what I set out to do. I have been editing like crazy. I've been going chapter by chapter through the story, even on days where I don't want to deal with that particular scene or I don't want to deal with that thing. The only worry I have so far is I'm doing a chapter or sometimes 2 chapters a day, and I've been worrying if like I'm going through it too fast and I'm not paying the right amount of attention to each chapter because I want to get through it and I want to get to the next thing and the next thing, and because I know I don't have all the time in the world. I have enough time to work on this in a substantial way, but I don't have enough time to spend 4 to 5 hours like delving into one chapter. So I've been adding entire chapters, I've been rewriting entire chapters. Yesterday I had to delete an entire section that wasn't working anymore. I've been kind of doubting myself too, like the amount of story editing that I'm going to have to do. The more I think about it, the more I feel like the way I've been approaching editing, at least this month, hasn't been perfectly ideal, just because if I didn't explain this before, the type of editing that I am doing right now is story editing. So just making sure the story elements all make sense, there's no continuity errors, or just basically making sure that it all makes sense is what I've been doing. Because that feels like, at least at this point, it feels like the only editing I really can do, because I don't want to worry about word choice or syntax or diction or stuff like that until the story is there. Like, I could be spending my time making it sound pretty, but it just feels like that'll be a fruitless effort if the story isn't there, if there's not a solid foundation. So I'm working on the foundation. And the system of editing that I've been using, where I'm going chapter by chapter, it has been working, but like editing it that way, I feel like would have made more sense if I was just like linguistically editing it, or whatever the term is, I don't know. But if I was editing it that way, if I was editing for grammar and word choice and stuff like that, because at least for me, I've found that editing it that way, even as I am taking all the notes that I am about each chapter, it just feels like it isn't solving the issues I need it to solve, especially with like the character arcs and developing certain characters more than they had been developed before. I feel like that just hasn't been solving that. So I don't know if I'm gonna do something different, but I might have to do something different. I don't know what though. So, anyway, on that note, but I'm really happy I'm doing this. It really feels like I'm getting more work done and I'm making more progress on the novel that I have in months, genuinely. Like having this period of time where I can just hyper focus on everything and like have it be pretty much my sole focus right now. It's been really valuable, and I think even if I don't have a second draft by the end of the month, I feel like I will have made a substantial amount of progress on it, and I feel like that's going to be worth it. So, I'm going to keep rambling if I don't shut up now. So, I will see you guys next week with another update. So, it's the next day. You're getting an update from me earlier than you anticipated. Just in case I haven't introduced him yet, this is Pepita. I didn't even write notes for this. I just felt like filming because I have thoughts. This month is hard. I don't know why. I don't know why it's been hard. Obviously, I have been working on the book a lot since I graduated. I haven't stopped. It's just I haven't been working on it this intensely in a very long time. So I'm recognizing that it's going to be really important for me as I continue through the rest of this month, that I'm going to need to take extra good care of myself and really prioritize self-care. It's just a heavy story, and I want to do a good job. Thank you for listening to me ramble. Hopefully, I can edit this together to appear somewhat coherent. So, I'll see you next week. I'll wait a week this time. Okay, goodbye. Okay, it's day 21. It's the third week of NaNoWriMo. I ended up taking a really long break this week. I think I didn't write for like 4 days. I was just getting overwhelmed with like how ambitious of a goal I had set for myself. But I think since Thursday, I've been getting back into it and like delving into it more. So really, I think like an extended break was probably exactly what I needed. I've been rewriting chapters and I've been adding chapters. I think I've added 4 chapters, like 4 brand new chapters. It's been really refreshing. Like, I feel like I've been able to break ground and like tap into certain parts of my characters that I just haven't been able to yet. I finally finished a lot of the really heavy rewriting that I needed to do for Act 2, which feels really good. Something that's been helpful for me in rewriting and stuff has been basically if there's a lot of cutting I need to do to a chapter, then I won't like officially cut it. I'll just move it to the end of the manuscript just because I don't know if I'm going to need certain stuff later, but it's been good. I've been able to go back to the end and like find stuff that I wanted to temporarily discard and just be like, oh, okay, this would actually fit better in this chapter. Today I got through about 3 chapters. I was able to get through a little faster than I have been because, you know, just less rewriting to do. I'm finally in like familiar territory again. And like I feel kind of stable and on my feet, which has been good because I've just been like, because with like the adding the chapters and rewriting a lot of stuff, I've been in that unfamiliar territory again where I'm kind of just like, oh, I don't know what happens next. I haven't decided what happens next. And now I have to make decisions about what happens next. Today I finally broke through Act 3, which is very exciting, but it's also very nerve-wracking because I know the ending of the book has been like I know how the book ends. Like I know how it ends, and I know that's the bare minimum that I need to know. But my manuscript is just really messy at the end. And I think that knowing that as I step into Act 3 is kind of stressful and it makes me nervous to kind of go forward. I think I need to be more lenient with myself and like allow my goals for the month to change. Like, I've worried if I do that, it's like, oh, I'm backtracking about what I initially set out to do. Like, I don't know if I'll come out this month with a second draft, but I know that I can read through and edit through as much as I can of the book. I feel like that is a reasonable adjustment to make. I guess on a different note, I have been really enjoying the process of putting together a monthly vlog. I don't know why. I think I like the just the time that I have to like put into it, and like just not stressing about like, oh, I need to put this up in like a day or a couple days or like in a week or a couple weeks. And also with monthly vlogs, it's like I have like a built-in deadline, which is kind of nice. Maybe I'll do more of these in the future. I feel like it can be like a sustainable thing. I guess that's all I have to say, so I will update you guys again next week. I did it. It is the last day of NaNoWriMo, and I'm done basically, which is weird to say. I'm not sure quite where to start, so I think I'm going to just walk you through how this week has gone, how this last week of NaNoWriMo has gone for me. Like I mentioned before, I hadn't really touched Act 3 in a really long time. Even in the past several months when I would go back and like edit stuff, I would specifically, for the most part at least, I would specifically avoid Act 3 because I knew it was so bad and I knew it was going to stress me out. But I did spend this week going through Act 3, obviously, and I think part of why I was avoiding it was obviously partially because the writing was messy and stressful to look at, but also it was really emotional. Like my disaster moment and my climax of this book are very emotional and very like it was emotional to write in the first place. It's emotional every time I go to read it and look at it. So I think that's part of why I've been avoiding it so much, because I'm just like, this is sad. This bumps me out. It's intense. I believe that sometimes the stories we write really do take us to that dark place that inspired them in the first place. The beginning of this week did feel really good. It was like I was starting to feel the story evolving into what it's supposed to be. I just had a feeling, and it felt really good to know that I am going in the right direction, even if I'm not exactly where I need to be yet with this story. Early on in the week, I was being very productive. I remember one day I just had I think I edited 4 chapters in one day, which was absolutely exhausting. I can't even remember how many words I had written that day. I hadn't edited that many chapters in a row before, and it was wild. On that day, I know that I was working on the disaster moment of the story. I think part of how I was able to edit that particular section so quickly and edit 4 chapters of that in one day was just, I was kind of just caught up in the momentum of it, which was obviously, it was still very sad and depressing, but it was also a little fun. Even with all of the rewriting I was doing in the disaster moment and the low point and everything, really, it just felt like I was just riding this wave of momentum that this part of the story just had with it. By design, so it felt really good and I felt really productive. That being said, the next day I remember, oh, it was the day before Thanksgiving. I really thought I would be able to get a lot done, and then I didn't. I mean, I was just burnt out. I was really burnt out. I think the big problem I kept running into this last week was I just wasn't writing very sustainably. It was like I would spend a couple of days interspersed throughout the week where I would just write and edit like so much. I would get through like a huge chunk, way more than I would on a normal day, and then the other days of the week I would just be too burnt out to even touch it. It was like I was exhausting my creative energy and then assuming that I could do the same thing the next day even though my tank was empty, if that makes sense. So I did not write that day. Obviously, I didn't write on Thanksgiving either. I just spent time with family. The day after Thanksgiving, I really got back into the rhythm of everything. Really, the chapters after my low point, I think, needed some really extensive rewriting. As I was working through the manuscript, it really just felt like the chapters were becoming progressively more difficult because, like I said, a lot of my third act before this week was really messy. So, spoiler alert, I am not finishing this month with a second draft. While I did make a lot of progress this month, there are a lot of larger continuity issues that I just need to like tighten and like really hone in on. Like when I would get an idea about something that could be fixed in Act 1 or Act 2, and then be fleshed out throughout the rest of the book. It was frustrating when I would get an idea like that and just be like, okay, yes, but not now, because right now I just need to finish reading through the thing and editing through what I can edit through before November is over. The biggest surprise of this week was how much I was able to add to it, how much I was able to up my word count this week specifically, because I did significantly more rewriting than I was expecting. Like, I was adding entirely new scenes that weren't there before. Obviously, any changes I made in Act 2 have bled over to Act 3. So of course there's going to be rewriting there, but a lot of it had to do with the fact that, like, I didn't realize how underwritten my third act was. Like, it was really, like, severely underwritten. There was not a lot of detail in a lot of places. And as a result of, like, adding brand new scenes, rewriting a lot of scenes very extensively, adding a lot of detail to existing scenes, I hit 60,000 words yesterday. Like, you guys don't understand. I had lost all hope that I was even gonna hit 60K. I had no hope I was gonna make that milestone this month. I really thought that it wasn't gonna happen. I didn't think it could happen, and then it did. I'm just really happy. Today, I finished reading through the entire book. The last few chapters were still pretty rough, and they still are pretty rough. For the last few chapters of the book, I was basically spending time trimming the really bad stuff. I definitely didn't take a lot of time to go through, like, detail by detail and break everything down. I just tried to break down the stuff that was fresh in my mind based on the changes I had made previously, because I am out of energy. I have no more energy. I really feel like I have pushed myself to my limits this month, which is what I set out to do and what I wanted to do. But oh God, I need a break. I need a break. I want to work on something else. I want to work on one of my other writing projects for a little while, at least a week. I just need a week to just not think about this novel because it's been consuming my every waking thought all month. I don't know, I wanted to accomplish what I set out to accomplish, and I think I did. Now that NaNoWriMo is over, I just feel so creatively drained, at least in regards to this specific project. I did not end this month with a second draft, but I have a story that is significantly more developed than it was 30 days ago, and I'm really proud of myself for that. And I added 9,000 words to the manuscript. Like, that's insane. That's insane, and I'm really thankful and proud of myself for accomplishing what I accomplished this month. I was gonna do, like, a dramatic hair reveal, like, I did it, this is my NaNoWriMo hair, but I also want to get this vlog out at a good time, and I'm not sure when this week I'm gonna have time to get my hair done, but I will be getting my hair done. That will be my reward for accomplishing my goals this month. After this month, I can't even imagine what it would be like to just start a brand new book in the month of November. Like, if you did that this month, congratulations, I salute you. I can't even imagine. I think I would want to do it someday though. If I had an idea that I was sitting on and I felt like it was the right time, I think I could totally see myself trying to do this. I don't know if I would hit 50,000 words, but I think this was a really fun experience. As exhausting as it was, I feel really fulfilled with what I did this month, and I'm just really happy. But I also need a break. I absolutely need a break. Like, after spending this month dedicating myself to this story, I feel a lot more confident moving forward because now I think I have a better idea of what it needs, you know what I mean? I think that's everything I have to say. Thank you for coming on this journey with me. I hope you did something nice for yourself today, and I will see you next time. Okay, please tell me you're still recording.